What's going on YouTube? So if you've been itching for a high-performance RAV4, well, Toyota has delivered that with this next generation 2026 Toyota RAV4 in a new GR Sport trim level. As you can tell, it is pretty darn aggressive looking. So let's go ahead and dig in for a detailed first look. So the best place to start out is here with our front design. So as you can tell right from the start, like I said, this is a very aggressive looking RAV4. It really dials it up to a place that it has never been before. And what they've actually done is brought in the special GR Matrix grille. This is very similar to what you get on some of the other GR products, such as the Corolla. So you can see that general shape, kind of boxy. You've got the gloss black accents, the big vent detailing, and the GR branding. So overall, very aggressive look for this RAV4. Really pops against the red paint as well. Now, in terms of our lighting, the main headlight unit here is going to be the same across the lineup. You've got the two-piece daytime running light with the projector LED headlight. As you drop down to the lower fascia, like I was saying earlier, you've got a lot of different details going on through here. What they have done is implanted an accent light over here on the far corner, helping make this vehicle look nice and wide. Now moving on to the wheels, this model has a 20-inch alloy, thus the largest size offered in the RAV4 lineup. Nice contrast finish on board. We have red brake calipers back there with prominent GR branding as well. And then, of course, more important to the overall performance is the fact that this is wrapped in summer performance tread. A little bit of gloss black accenting around the wheel arches as well as up here on our mirrors. And of course, you have the features you would expect, such as blind spot monitoring.
Now, at the side of the new RAV4, the overall vehicle length is 181.8 inches. For this GR trim level specifically, it adds about an inch over some of the other versions of the RAV4 just due to different bumper designs and details. Now, as far as some of those details, you will notice that all of our window surrounds are going to be a blacked out finish, and we, of course, have a blacked out roof. That really helps give us a lot of cool design elements when it comes to this GR Sport RAV4. We also have the roof rails up here at the top. Now, heading around to the rear design of this GR Sport RAV4, I have to say this is a very bold look. I certainly wasn't expecting to see this when we were invited to come look at the new RAV4, and let's go ahead and break down some of the individual design touches. So you will notice that we have a spoiler right through here. The GR Sport is additionally going to add this raised spoiler up on the top part. That's definitely going to be a very unique design touch. And then as far as other looks, we have a wiper right through here. The rear glass is sloped off at a very vertical angle here. And then as far as the center section, this is all going to be a blacked out design besides for our RAV4 branding. Now, as far as our taillights, we have a completely new direction for the RAV4. You'll see it has these vertical strips through here. They're going to be a full LED setup with your turn signal and your reverse light. Then as we drop down to the lower fascia, we have some GR Sport branding. Of course, this is also kind of amped up to the maximum degree. So you have a really aggressive lower fascia. 3,500 pounds is your tow rating. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, Toyota doesn't mess around, and this RAV4 is actually going to have the latest Safety Sense suite that they are offering. This is actually 4.0. Now, that is going to include all of your active safety features as standard equipment, and we're a little bit unsure about what Toyota is adding for the 4.0, but do know that it will be a very advanced technology, and they will be releasing those details a little bit later on. But guys, there is a really cool cabin that we can't wait to show you. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars. All right, let's check out the interior. Of course, you're going to have a smart entry system, as you would expect. And then as we open up the door, welcome inside this GR Sport RAV4. So there's some special details with this interior versus the other versions of the new RAV4. Really, that begins with our seats. So you'll notice they're very aggressive looking. We've got a leatherette on the outside edge thick bolsters, and then the center section is going to be finished in a suede. This is going to help kind of grip when you go around corners. You also have some color contrast piping, and then you've got your GR branding prominently up there in the headrest itself. As far as the adjustments, it is going to be a 10-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support. It doesn't appear that we have memory seats on this example. But let's climb inside and get into some specific details. So now that we're inside the interior, let's look over at material quality. First of all, you'll notice that we've got a leatherette trim through here. It is a soft touch plastic along the top. As we move to the upper dashboard, this is a hard material. And then through the center section, we have a leatherette in a color contrast gray. Down on the lower panels, it's not going to be padded or anything on today's example. Some of this could change. This is a prototype model. I do want to point that out, but that's where it stands right now. Also, because it is a prototype, we're not able to start it up and show off the electronics, but we can still see things such as the display size. When we take a look, first of all, at our gauge cluster, we've got a new 12.3-inch digital display. This is actually standard on every single RAV4 for 2026. And what's interesting about it is it doesn't have the hood cover, so it kind of just stands out on its own. I like the look of that overall. Now, I do want to mention that even though this is a performance version, it doesn't necessarily mean this is fully loaded in terms of interior. One of the things that is missing is a head-up display. For the very first time, RAV4 is offering that, but you have to get the limited or the XSE trim level. Now, in terms of our steering wheel, we've got a GR branded steering wheel, a little bit more aggressive in the overall look of it. Rain sensing wipers, manual tilt and telescoping. The console here is going to open in 2 directions, just like the other RAV4s, and it's really deep, plenty of storage inside. We look forward to doing a donut test later on. We've got our 2 cup holders, really large storage cubby right there, wireless phone charging pad on this side of the upper level of the cubby, and then a storage shelf as well. Shifter has some sporty accents overall to it. There are paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well. And then we have a button here to activate our camera, so I believe we do have a 360 camera on board with this example. Drive modes are going to be located right here in these large prominent areas where there kind of used to be climate controls. Now you have a lot of drive modes that you can select. And then the climate controls are now inside of the bottom of our screen here. So this is where you'll be able to adjust up and down with the climate function. Some other functions will be in the bottom of the screen. Speaking of the screen, this is a brand new 12.9-inch screen. So this gets the up-level, largest size available in the next generation RAV4. It's absolutely huge, very close to the driver, and will also come with Toyota's new infotainment software, so it'll have some additional performance enhancements and UI enhancements. The volume knob lives on in a physical way. We don't have the JBL sound system on this model. I don't know if it'll be available. We don't have complete details about this trim level just yet. Up top, you have an auto-dimming mirror with our HomeLink universal remotes. And then, as you can see, no sunroof on today's model.
Now, when it comes to the rear seat area for the new RAV4, we don't have official legroom and headroom details just yet, but given the fact that this is very similar in size to the current generation RAV4, I'd say we'll have very similar legroom and headroom figures here in the rear. So about 38 inches of legroom is what I'm expecting, and about 39 inches of headroom. Those are pretty good figures for this segment, but it's not going to be class leading. It's not going to be as good as something like a CR-V or a Hyundai Tucson, for instance. Now, I did bring the official Car Confections ruler along for me because I'm 5'9" and the seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". Because of that, we can see how much knee room I have. About 7 inches is what you can expect. That's pretty good for this segment, but once again, not class leading. Now, my feet can slide up underneath of the seat, and these seats themselves are pretty comfortable. 2 cup holders in the center armrest. And then as far as features are concerned, we have 2 USB-C ports, and we also have vents here in the back. I do believe heated back seats are available, but it's just not going to be included on this trim level. As far as the door trim, it's going to be pretty nice with soft touch plastic and leatherette. Plus, we have quite a bit of door storage in the bottom. Now walking up to the tailgate, we do have a power tailgate. This is a prototype model, so this is not functioning right now, so I can't show you. However, do feel free to hop on over to our other RAV4 videos where we can show you what it looks like here in the back. Something worth noting when it comes to the cargo space is this badge right here. This vehicle is plug-in hybrid exclusive in the GR Sport trim level. So what that means is you're going to have a little bit less cargo capacity, likely compared to the other hybridized versions of this model. Compared to the previous generation, that was sitting at 33 cubic feet behind the second row seat and 63 cubic feet with those seats folded down. I do expect those figures to remain mostly the same for this new RAV4.
All right, so now let's talk about that new powertrain setup. So of course that's very big news for this next generation RAV4 is the fact that it goes hybrid exclusive. So you have a standard 5th generation hybrid system, and then you have the available 6th generation plug-in hybrid system, but no straight gas option is offered anymore. Now let's talk a little bit about some numbers you would associate with those. So it's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder on your hybrid model. It's now making 226 horsepower with the front wheel drive model and 236 horsepower with the all-wheel drive model. So those are improvements of about 17 horsepower over the previous hybrid model. Now the plug-in hybrid, that is going to also have a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors and a larger battery pack for the new model. This is going to give you 320 horsepower, an improvement of 18 horsepower, and it's also going to give you additional range, which I'll talk about in just a second. The availability of this is standard on the GR Sport, and then optional on SE, XSE, and the Woodland Edition. Now, of course, as typical with Toyota hybrid systems, you're going to have an eCVT, and then you also have front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive to choose from on the hybrid models. That's a first for the RAV4 because previously the hybrid always had all-wheel drive, but now you can get a front-wheel drive version. So we're estimating that that is going to increase the fuel economy even further than the current generation. So we're thinking, even though Toyota doesn't have an official rating, that we could be looking at perhaps 42 to 43 miles per gallon combined with your lower end trim levels. So that will be very, very impressive, obviously, and really give it another step up above most of the competition. Now, circling back to the PHEV I was talking about earlier, the enhancements that they've made will bump the range up to an estimated 50 miles now, which is 8 more than it was previously. And then some additional things that Toyota is saying that they have improved. They're saying the ride quality is going to be better than before. The chassis is more rigid than it was before. XLE and XSE are going to gain acoustic glass. The GR Sport is going to have a special sport-tuned suspension, and they have taken measures to make the cabin a quieter space overall. We look forward to putting all of those things to the test when we get to go out on the road with all of these RAV4s. We're really looking forward to giving you guys just tons more coverage of this RAV4 in the coming months because we know it is a very important product to you.
Now let's talk pricing and availability. So when it comes to pricing, Toyota has not released those numbers yet, and this is a new trim level as well. So it's a pretty big question mark as to how much this is going to cost, but because it is the plug-in hybrid exclusive, I'm going to say it's probably sitting around $45,000 to $48,000 as a starting price. Now you can see the full lineup of pricing for the previous generation on the screen right now if you'd like an estimation for other trim levels of the RAV4. And by the way, if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. And we even have a monthly payment tool, so we definitely recommend checking that out in our video description as well as in the pinned comment down below. Now, when it comes to availability, Toyota says this RAV4 will be available later this year, so we are expecting a fall 2025 delivery period for this new RAV4. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth first look review of the all-new 2026 Toyota RAV4 GR Sport. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this, and you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and we promise you don't want to miss out. We also encourage you to check out our other RAV4 reviews where we have different trim levels showcased on the channel. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.